Thanks for coming here. So, we completely lost audio on this one. I'm going to attempt my best to do a voiceover on this and kind of tell you guys what I'm talking about, why I'm doing these crazy hand gestures and talking into nothing. So, hang on, and here we go. So, here I'm talking about setting up the t shirt. This is a piece of vinyl I cut out, and the height of the image should be about 4 fingers down. Anytime you do lettering or anything like that, you want it to be about 4 fingers down. Girls, sometimes we go a little bit further for their hair, but 4 fingers is usually pretty good. This is a piece of vinyl I cut out on a plotter, designed it on one of the software programs called Corel. And it's just basically a sticker. I'm going to pull off the backing here and stick it down. Now the reason why I do it in halves is so that way it's real easy to line up. It's easy to get straight. A pumpkin, it really doesn't matter, but on lettering and stuff, if you want to be able to get it straight, it's always better to do half and half. So that way you don't get it shifted weird. So now I'm pulling the backing off and sticking it down to the t-shirt. Now vinyl works really well for paint mask on a t-shirt. If you try to use actual paint mask on a shirt, it's not going to work too well. So this worked out really good. Push it down real good, and then we pull off the transfer paper, which we put on top of the vinyl to hold all the centers. It also helps hold the vinyl stiffer so it doesn't stretch out weird and do other weird stuff. Now the reason why I'm using vinyl for this is because we're going to have to shoot a lot of white in order to work on top of this purple shirt. Otherwise the orange would turn like almost a brownish color. So now I'm going to mask it off. You always want to mask off extra compared to what you're working with. And the reason why is overspray really does not come out of t-shirts too well. So you're much better off masking it and being a lot safer than sorry. You want to make sure the edges are pushed down very well. And here I'm probably talking about masking and all that. So we're going to shoot a sealer on this. This is a sealer white. And we're going to be doing multiple coats. The t-shirts will absorb some of the material. But what we need to do is we'll have to heat press it or heat it up in order to get the material to dry, because we're actually soaking the shirt pretty well. As you can tell, when I touched it, I left that finger smear. This is a water-based paint. A couple companies make it. We want to let it set up. I guess I did there. So this looks like it's probably second or third coat. We'll probably do 5 or 6 coats. It does take a long time to get it to hide. And you want it to hide pretty well. Now as we're doing this, you could actually see a lot of the nap show up on the t-shirt. I know I'll address that later. But you want to just keep doing light coats, put it on, let it set up. You could use a heat gun. There you go. You could use a heat gun for this. And you don't want to get it too hot because the vinyl will become gummy or it'll start lifting. Or if you have glue on your backing board like I do, you could actually melt the shirt into the glue. So it's kind of scary to do that. I've done it before. All right, so we probably have 6 coats. You can still see some of the areas that are showing through, kind of light and dark in color. But once we heat press it, it'll really help it. And I heat press all the shirts that I do of dark colors in this stage. So I will do a white and then heat press it and then continue. The reason why I'm saving this paper is because I'm doing multiple shirts. This was, I think, 4 or 5 shirts that I was doing. Now, I won't need to use this for the yellow and orange, so I can actually not worry about saving it. I think here I might be trying to save it on this one because I think this was the first shirt I did. So now you can see that the white really stands out. Looks really bright. We got a nice clean edge. And there you can see the nap. So you can see all those little tiny hairs and fibers and stuff. That will really show with the final airbrushing. It won't look so smooth and neat. So you really want to heat press that down. If you do not have a heat press, you can use an iron. But I have a heat press, and we're going to use a silicone sheet here, or Teflon. I think it's Teflon sheet for heat pressing. We lock it down. I think we did 15 seconds, maybe 10 seconds. And it doesn't have to be too hot, 300 degrees, 250. And I'm going to probably heat press it a couple times. Let it cool down. Let it, you don't want to burn the shirt because that is a possibility. Put that back down and heat press again. You want about medium pressure. So if you're using an iron, you're actually going to have to push down pretty hard to make sure that you're getting that nice pressure to push that nap down into the shirt. So we're going to go back over to the t-shirt board, put it back on, and go from there. Here I shot a yellow just so I could work on it a little bit easier. And I'm just using a regular pencil, going in there and drawing out my design. On this orange, I could have used an orange Stabilo or something else, but a pencil worked great. It's kind of what I used to do back in the day. Now the reason why I shot yellow first was so we can actually go in there and have some highlights in this orange. I'll allow some of that yellow to shine through that orange. And I'm not going in with a real dark orange. I'm probably doing a yellow-orange mix just so that way I can make it darker and darker. We want to leave some of that brightness of that yellow shining through. Now with airbrushing, the closer you get to the subject, the tighter the line's going to be. Also the darker, more concentrated paint coming in. You pull back on the needle and that gives you your paint flow. You push down for air. Now I always push down and leave it down while I work. Some people regulate their air with that, but it's really difficult. And that's what a regulator's for. If you want lower pressure, just turn down the regulator. So I'm going to go in and just kind of bury all my pencil lines with this lighter orange. Hide everything up. You don't want to see your drawing. The airbrush I'm using here is a Badger. It's an Omni. I want to say it's a 4000 or 3000. And I call it my fire hose because it has a very big nozzle on it and sprays a lot of paint very quickly. You can see I'm staying away from the edge, which we really don't need to because I'm doing a black background on it. That's why we don't need to worry too much about masking, but the black will really set off the pumpkin. And you can see how light I'm going over this yellow. I want these areas to look bulbous. So I'm just kind of making it orange, not yellow. And now I'm coming in more with the actual orange color. And you can see how light we were working. That looked orange up against that yellow when we first started. Now that we're shooting a darker orange or actual probably out of the bottle orange, you can see how much deeper orange that is. For the faded areas, you want to stand pretty far away. You don't want to be real tight to it. And that'll help it to where you could do a soft shadow. And just keep on working it back and forth. There I was probably cleaning off the needle, because sometimes the needles get dried paint on it, especially when you're working with water-based paints. The water doesn't re-wet. The reducers that you use don't really re-wet the paint, so you get it to dry on the tips. And most t-shirt paints that you use are designed pretty thick. They're designed to actually go into material and stay on top of the material. So you don't want it real thin bodied, and you also want a lot of pigment in it. So you do get a little more clogging, and kind of you got to use air pressure when you're using these type of paints. So I'm going over all my pencil lines to make sure that they're not showing up. One thing you don't want to do is get done with the shirt and have pencil lines all over it. Okay, I guess I have a whole bunch of missed footage there. So I'm pretty much done. It looks like I went in with some black and probably some brown to make some of those colors. And then I added a green leaf on top. So I'm terrible at filming. I really am. This video was done a long time ago. It was last Halloween. And hopefully I'm getting better. I don't know how much better I'm getting, but hopefully I'm getting better. So you can see the brown in there in the teeth, some of the black. So I got pictures of it, so we'll show pictures at the end. And now I'm getting ready to do names. So see, I do the measurement down again with the hand. You want to make sure that you're down so far, look at center of the shirt, and then go off of that. Now, like I said, we're going to show basically doing the way I do it. Center it, stick down half of it, pull the tape off, and then pull off the other side. It's one of the easiest ways to do it. You can make sure that you're straight before you do it. On longer stuff, you could actually tape one side and the other side and kind of line it up and then put a piece of tape down the center of it. So I'm pulling the transfer paper, and if it starts peeling, you just push it down. Sometimes you have to use your finger or something to make sure the center stays. But this is one of the cleanest ways to get lettering, especially when you're working on darker colors, because you can shoot white. Whereas if you're doing freehand airbrush, you're going to have to be very tight with the white so you don't have like an overspray glow around it. I think I had one of the areas fold up on me, so pushing it down, making sure we're good. Yeah, moving the center of the E, making sure it's nice and straight. As you can see, I've done multiple shirts, that's why I have that. And these are the designs that they sent me that they wanted me to kind of go off of. That's the style they wanted. Mask it all off, make sure there's no overspray, push it down, and then you can come in with your white. Now this I'm using white right out of the bottle, so it's very thick, and the airbrush is a very small nozzled airbrush. So I'm actually bouncing the trigger back and forth in order to get the paint to come out of it. Because I want it to hide quickly, that's why I'm doing it this way. I could have used a bigger gun, but it's such a small area. That's why on the pumpkins, I was using an actual spray gun. And if you look, I actually am not moving the trigger at all. I'm actually pulling back on the needle, getting it to come out. So I'm opening up the nozzle 100%. Once again, we're going to heat set it. I'm talking about not wrinkling it again. You don't want to get it too hot to where you have to worry about wrinkles. Probably do 3 or 4 coats. Just like on the pumpkin, you want it to hide 100%. And if you do get it too wet, you can get like a weird underspray, almost like a bleed under. So you want to make sure you don't get it too wet. So we're coming with the heat gun again and make sure that it stays dry. You really have to keep the vinyl dry too. You want to make sure you don't get that too wet, otherwise it can curl up. I've had to do a whole bunch of different stuff on me. So now I'm coming in. We're doing a fade on this. I think we're fading it almost like a candy corn look. White, orange, yellow. Candy corn. Alright, how many of you guys like candy corn? I think it's basically waxed sugar, isn't it? So I'm pretty sure I probably didn't show all of these shirts, and I think afterwards they asked me to add some spiders onto it, which I don't think I recorded. They wanted a spider coming down off of the name. So I'm talking about the two-tone, making sure it's dry. Sometimes when I do fades, I'll shoot a dark color, a light color, then come back in with the dark color or the light color to make the fade look really nice and even. I don't think I did it on this one, but that's how you do fades. Sometimes it helps to go back in and do it. You know, go back over with the lighter color or darker color. I'm pulling out the centers of the names first. And then the names I'll also heat press when I'm done with it. Talking about fighting that vinyl, you can see how well it sticks to the shirt. It does really well. So now you got a name fade, which is hard to do freehand. There, now you can see all the shirts that I've done. And there's the spiders. So they added those on. They wanted something to kind of show a little something in the front. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Please check out some of our other videos. And we'll see you on the next one.